Hare Krishna, welcome to Srila Mayapur, the spiritual center of the universe. So today we're reflecting on the quality of greed. In the fifth canto, Jadabard is speaking to Maharaj Rahugana, and he's describing the force of material enjoyment, wherein the living entity is compared to a merchant who is struggling in this forest trying to enjoy by accumulating wealth and therefore accumulating material possessions, beautiful palatial building, large bank balance, revenue, stockpiling of revenues, etc. And Jadabharta is explaining that although this seems very nice, it is actually a source of great misery. As Krishna says in the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Rajo Rajatmikam Vidi Trishnam Sangha Samudbhava, that the mode of passion is characterized by intense endeavor, intense over endeavor for wealth and material possessions. And he also states in that particular chapter that Karmana Sukritasyahu Rajasas tu phalam dukam, that in the mode of passion, the only fruit, the only result or return one gets from acting in the mode of passion is unhappiness. So this greed or intense desire to enjoy the material world and working hard, building large buildings, getting ahead materially, always chasing after one's material dreams, this is all the mode of passion and is all under the heading of greed. So it's also described by Jadabharata that there are 6 plunderers of the living entity: calm, lust, crowd, anger, lobe, greed. So one of the 6 plunderers are the senses influenced by greed and lust and anger. So these 6 plunderers are the mind and the senses, influenced by the 6 highway robbers, actually. The 6 highway robbers being Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Mada, and Matsarya. Moha means illusion, or the idea that I am this man, this woman, this American, this Indian, this particular religious affiliate. I'm a Muslim, I'm a Christian. These are all called upadis by Rupa Goswami. Sarv upadi vinirmuktam tatparat vena nirmalam rishikena sivanam bhakti uttama. In that verse, Rupa Goswami describes that the goal of human life is to purify our hearts of these upadis. Upadi means misrepresentation or misidentification with the subtle and gross body. The subtle body is full of ego, and the mind is always calculating how to acquire. So, Sochati and Kankshati. In the 7th canto, Prahlad Maharaj meets a very great Avaduta who is lying in the forest, on the forest path, and he's very, very chubby, very heavy set person, but he's just lying there. And Prahlad Maharaj starts asking him questions. Why are you just lying here? What is your purpose? What is your intention? And the Avaduta, of course, is self-realized, and he gives a line of verses about detachment from material things. He says, I've learned from the bee that the bee, he makes honey. Viragya sarvakamebhya shikshito me madhu vratat. Madhu means the honeybee. And the honeybee is very detached. She brings all the honey in to the hive, and then the beekeeper comes and takes it away. And so the bee continues to work, do his duty, and the beekeeper takes all the fruits of his actions. So, like this, he says that I learned viraga sarvakamebhya. I have become detached from sarvakamebhya, all material desires. Shikshito, I learned from the bee. Shikshito me madhuvatat, that I learned this from the bumblebee or the honeybee. So, um, like that, he is instructing Prahlad Maharaj. He also says, Dhyaninam lubdanam klesham. He says that I see that the wealthy person, Paschami dhyaninam klesham, lubdamam ajitat manaha. Pashyami, I see dhaninam klesham, that the very wealthy man who is full of properties and revenues, money here and there, investments, stock exchange, etc., that such a person is full of klesham or miseries. Pashimi daninam klesham, lubdanam, because of his greed, ajitat manaha, he's not controlling his mind. Baya alabda nidranam, and out of fear of, he's so attached that at night he loses sleep. He suffers from insomnia. Baya alabda nidranam. Nidranam, he can't even sleep properly because he's worrying that, oh, the government will tax me. Oh, my relatives and friends, they will come and ask for money. Or some thief will come. Some uh, dishonest person will come, or some um, criminal will come and try to get my money and take my money. In this way, the person suffers from insomnia. So the Avaduta is describing how he sees that even a person who is so-called materially well-to-do and successful, that he's also suffering from this greed, this attachment to material things, money for sense gratification, etc. So this theme of greed is one of the great enemies of the soul. Krishna tells Arjuna in the 16th chapter, Trividam narakasedam dwaram narshanam atmana kama krodha tata lobas tasmat etam trayam chajet. He says that there are three gates leading to hell: Kam, Krodh, and Lob, lust, anger, and greed. These are the three gates which open the passageway or the pathway or the highway to hell. So he says that a sane person, an intelligent person, should give these up, knowing very well that they lead to the degradation of the soul. So we also know that by cultivating spiritual life in devotional service, we develop the mode of goodness, which is the gateway to peace and happiness. From the mode of goodness, one becomes knowledgeable, and there's a sense of happiness as well. Satvikam nirmalam phalam, that from the mode of goodness, the heart becomes pure, and the result is nirmalam, or a feeling of freedom from attachments and anxiety and hankering, and then lamenting and so on. These are characteristics of the modes of passion, and of which greed is one of the primary elements. So in this way, by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, of course, Cheto Darpanamarjanam Bhavamahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandri Kavitaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipadam Punam Ritasvadanam Savatmasapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Cheto Darpanamarjanam. This process in Kali Yuga is the chanting of the holy names of the Lord, given, of course, directly by a bona fide acharya, bona fide spiritual line, spiritual master in the disciplic line coming down from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishna Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtane Prair Yajantihi Shumedasha. That Vedavyas, the author of all the Vedic literatures, the Puranas, the Upanishads, the Vedic, Artaveda, and so on, Samaveda, Artaveda, Atharva Veda, um, that this author, Vedavyasa, stated in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavad Purana, which is a ripened fruit of all of the tree of Vedic knowledge. It's described, um, the phalam, the fruit of all Vedic, the tree of Vedic knowledge is Srimad Bhagavad Purana. So in this 11th canto, Vedavyasa is speaking. Of course, his son is hearing this. Sukadev Goswami hears the entire Bhagavatam within the womb of his mother. And so here he's saying that in the age of Kali, Krishna appears as a devotee, not as Krishna. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishna, not Krishna. He's not darkish like a rain cloud. He's actually golden. So he's a golden avatar in this age of Kali. And he's transforming the world through the congregational chanting of the holy name. Kali Kalir Namarupa Krishna Avatar. Namahoite Hoy Sarvadak Jagat Nishtar. In the age of Kali, the holy name is the incarnation of Krishna, comes in the holy name of Krishna. And therefore, Gauranga Mahaprabhu is spreading this Sankirtan Yagya throughout the entire world by empowering great acharyas like our Srila Prabhupada, who crossed the ocean in the 1965, went to America and chanted and taught this Sankirtan Yagya. So by chanting these holy names of the Lord, the mind and heart becomes purified, and one gradually develops the goal of human life, how to love God. And therefore, Bhaktistu Ananyaya Shakya. Ananya means one has no desires, whether they're gross desires like lust or greed or things like that, Ananyaya, or desire for false prestige, society, social position, false pride. These are all characteristics of a person who is influenced by the mode of passion. And also ignorance, anger is in the mode of ignorance. So that is the demoniac mentality that we are seeing in our modern society today. Krishna describes in the 16th chapter, Dambo Darpo Bimanascha Kruda Purushameva Cha Agyana Chabivjatasya Partha Sampadim Asurim. The qualities in this age are very prominent demoniac qualities like false pride, arrogance, conceit, and so on. Dambo Darpo Mimanascha Krodha Parusham, anger, harshness. These are all qualities coming from the lower modes of nature, which is mode of tamagun or ignorance and rajagun. So the goal of human life is to raise one's consciousness above these lower modes of nature by the following of the path of bhakti yoga or devotional service to the Lord, as given in his Upadeshamrita. Rupa Goswami describes different elements of bhakti yoga, what to avoid, what to embrace, to only associate with devotees and avoid the association of non-devotees, to accept only foods or stuffs that are offered to Krishna, and so on and so forth. And gradually one's heart becomes purified and one's mind becomes peaceful, and one tastes the amrita or the nectar of devotion to Krishna, which ultimately ends up in a feeling of love of God or attachment to the Lord called Raganuga Bhakti. So the Bhagavad Gita is explaining these elements of the enemy of the soul, the greed, as we're speaking about greed today, loba, lubda pravitam aramba, one who identifies with his body, pritagbina tushadyanam, nanabhavam pritagvidam, beti sarvechi bhuteshu tadganam rajasam smritam. The persons, they're very proud that they have so much material knowledge. I'm a big scientist, and they invent many types of ways for gratifying the senses. All kinds of material inventions are being developed. Takvena is a materialistic inventions. One's mind is fully absorbed in materialistic endeavors, how to manipulate the material energy to make rockets and jets and all these things. But it's simply for accumulation of material things, which is the problem of lust, greed, the problem of greed. And so Vedavyas describes in the first canto, Dharmasya hi apavargasya. The goal of all paths or all dharma is apavarga, freedom from the miseries of material world. Pavarga refers to pa. One works very hard, but then one may get sick, or one eventually gets old, full of disease, and then ultimately dies. So pavarga means defeat. The living entity is going through this force of material enjoyment, but he's being defeated at every moment. He never experiences real happiness, simply because he's endeavoring without understanding his relationship with God. So apavarga, fa comes from the word finila, which means that, like the donkey we see, or the mule, it's pulling a big load, and the horses and mules, they're frothing at the mouth. Simply, grass is lying on the side of the road, but they think, oh, I have to work like an ass. Literally, the ass is working like an ass and frothing at the mouth. Like this, pavarga, mritu, death, bhaya, faring. These things are there. In the seventh canto, the Avaduta also explains Shoka Moha Bhaya Krodha Raga Klebya Shramadaya Yanmula Suryunam Jayat Spriham Pranartaya Buddha. He says that the cause of Shoka, which is lamentation, Moha, illusion, Bhaya, fear, Krodha, anger, Shoka Moha Bhaya Krodha, Raga, attachment, over attachment. So sometimes a person is sitting there looking out the window, and he sees a big truck, a big garbage truck coming down the road, and it smashes into his beautiful brand new Mercedes Benz, and he becomes so angry. This is intense attachment. The car has nothing to do with him, but he's so attached. He's identifying with his Mercedes or his fancy vehicle or his fancy house. So when a dilemma arises, when some accident happens, some unwanted adverse conditions come, he's attached to that, and he starts to lament. Shoka moha bhaya, shoka, lamentation. Raga klebya shramadaya. Yanmula, the root, the main top root of all these different types of miseries. Yanmula spriham pranartaya means intense desire to serve one's body, serve one's false identity. Spriham pranartaya Buddha. And prana means life, one's life, life air. It's more important in his own life air to have all these material things. But this is the problem of lust, of greed. Problem of greed, loba. Lubda pravitim. So materialistic persons who identify themselves with the body, this is their end result, is misery, and they don't even realize that they're miserable. Many people think, oh, look, I've accomplished so much. I have so much wealth, and so many people worship me, so many people admire me for my great accomplishments. But ultimately, Krishna is saying that in this world, the modes of passion characterized by greed and lust and material possessiveness is a source of misery. You will simply suffer misery. And ultimately, at the time of death, one who dies in the mode of passion, Udvam Gachanti Shatvasta, Rajasas, in the mode of passion, one takes birth in the middle planets. Madhye Tishtanti Rajasa, one takes birth in the earthly planets where there's lots of misery. Chiganya Gunaji Adogachanti Tamasa, and of course, if one dies in the mode of ignorance, which oftentimes is a result of greed, one becomes, if one loses his money or something, he gets depressed, angry, becomes indolent, then he glides into a hellish situation. The mode of ignorance is also characterized by animal killing. So many people, they acquire a lot of money by sinful activities, illegal activities, adharmic activities, like opening up large slaughterhouses, etc., etc. And these are activities, opening up hotels, liquor stores. These are all activities in the mode of ignorance. So one who leaves his body, the soul that leaves its body in the mode of ignorance, simply mudo jonasu jayate, takes birth in the animal species, or as Krishna tells Arjuna in the 16th chapter, qualities of a demon, demoniac qualities, patanti narake sucha. He glides down to the hellish planets. There are planets where people are punished for sinful activities, cheating others for money, acquiring money illegally or dishonestly. So many different sinful activities are going on, especially in the age of Kali. So the only hope is this Krishna consciousness movement, which is being established worldwide by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, great Acharya, great Mahajan, great Mahashaya, great devotee of the Lord. This Prema Bhakti is very powerful, and we see how Lord Chaitanya sometimes enters into the hearts of various devotees. Like in his pastimes when he was here 530 years ago, he entered into the hearts of certain devotees like Nishingananda Brahmachari or Nikula Brahmachari, and they became very powerful, and whoever met them would also be transformed with pure love of God just by their meeting this person and hearing from this person. So the association of these great personalities is very rare and is very, very valuable. And so we should take shelter of the great acharyas like Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And how do we associate? Is simply by hearing. Shrinvata sva kata Krishna punya shravana kirtanam. Vidyantasto hi abhadrani vidinoti saritsatam. Within the heart, one gets purified by hearing from the lips of a pure devotee. One's mind and heart becomes so purified, and one becomes freed from all these various robbers of the soul. Of the soul, the wealth of the soul is devotion to God, and these contaminations simply uh, extract or disrupt the progress of the soul towards developing his prema or love for Krishna, Radha and Krishna, the ultimate goal of human life. So Gauranga Mahaprabhu or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very merciful. Mahavadanyaya avatar. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gora Trisaya Namaha. Rupa Goswami, a great disciple of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, He's known as the father of devotional service in this age of Kali. Has written many wonderful books and slokas and verses describing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, describing the process of devotional service. And in this verse, he glorifies that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most magnanimous of all the various avatars. Lord Brahma says, Ramadam Murtishu Kala Niyamena Tishtan Nanavataram Makarod Bhuvaneshu Kinta. Krishna Swaya Samabhavat Paramapumanyo Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. That there are millions and millions of avatars emanating from Lord Govinda. Govindam Adipurusham, the original personality of Godhead, the original person, one without a second. And of all these avatars, Rupa Goswami is saying the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the golden avatar in Kali Yuga, that he is the most magnanimous because he is indiscriminately, no qualification required. He's simply distributing love for Krishna without any consideration of caste, creed, qualification. One may be very sinful, may be born in a family of dog eaters. Ahobato swapacho tagarian jivagre vartate namatubhyam de pusta puste juhu shashnuraya brahman nuchu nama grinanti te. In the third canto of Bhagavatam, this verse is given by Kapila Dev to his mother Devahudi, that just see, even a person who is born in the family of dog eaters, the lowest class of men, if he has the name of God dancing on his tongue, then he's far superior to the yogis and the jnanis and the fruit of the people who perform Vedic ritualistic ceremonies and so on. He has already taken birth in Ganga and all the holy rivers of India. He's already performed all Vedic sacrifices and austerities of the mystic yogis. All this is accomplished simply by chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna. And Narada Muni has recommended this. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Nam Namakari Bahudan Nija Sharva Shaktis Tarpita Niyamita Smarane Nakala. Itadrisi Tavakritam Bhavamanane Dudaivam Ijisami Hajni Nanaraga. Oh, my Lord, you've invested all your potency in this holy name. And there's no hard and fast rule for chanting these names. You can chant anytime under any circumstance, and you will taste this wonderful pleasure and nectar of Krishna Bhakti. So this Krishna Bhakti is described by Rupa Goswami as a fire which burns up all unwanted elements in the forest, like snakes and dangerous creatures. It's described like a fire. So the fire of Bhakti, under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, will burn up all unwanted elements within one's heart, such as greed. And one will develop a different type of greed, lolium. Lolium means a greed for developing a taste for the holy name, a greed for serving Krishna within one's mind and heart, a greed for the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is all-pervading, omniscient, omnipotent, and at the same time descended in Vrindavan, Mathura Vrindavan, 5,000 years ago, and exhibited wonderful transcendental pastimes with his devotees in various mellows or rasas, such as Vatsalya Ras. Mother Yashoda is tying up Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The gopis are dancing with Krishna in the forest of Vrindavan after hearing him playing on his flute in the autumn season on a moonlit night. And Krishna's cowherd boyfriends are going with him in the pasturing grounds every day with millions and millions of cows. Chintamani prakarasadmasu kalpavriksha lakshaviteshu surabhirabhipalyantam. Lakshmi sahasrasata sambrahma sevyamanam. Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. The Lord Brahman, the Brahma Samhita, describes the spiritual world. It is made of touchstone and wish-fulfilling trees that supply whatever you need to serve Krishna with, and Kamadhenu, wish-fulfilling cows that also supply abundance of milk and gifts for serving Krishna. And everyone in the spiritual world is serving Krishna. And so Krishna descended 5,000 years ago to Vrindavan, Mathura Vrindavan, where he exhibited his eternal pastimes here on the earth planet. His transcendental activities with his cowherd boyfriends, with his servants, with his parental parents, uncles, aunts, nephews, and so on. And of course, ultimately, with his beloved gopis, the gopis of Vrindavan, in Madhurya Ras, or conjugal affection. So these things can only be revealed simply by chanting Hare Krishna under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. So our spiritual master and founder, Acharya A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, is guiding us with the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavad Purana, and many other writings that he wrote. And this is called Vani Sangha, or association with the Acharya through his words, which is far more important than Vapu Sangha, or just seeing his form. So many have seen his form, but hearing is far more important, as it enters the ears and purifies the heart. Shrinvata Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanam. Thank you very much, and we hope you can derive something from this offering to you today, that you have perhaps acquired some knowledge or some little tidbits of jewels from the Vedic knowledge, Vedic literatures. Hare Krishna. Thank you.